have code name Brody, and Brody comes to me from a good connection of mine over at Delaware Park. I think this is only the third or fourth horse I've gotten from her, but I have absolutely loved every single one that I have gotten, and Brody is no exception. He actually might be my favorite so far, to be honest. He is a really big bodied and pretty tall. He's 16.2 and a half hands, so just a little bit under 16.3. He's a 10-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Fairbanks, and that's a Giants Causeway line. And Brody, he's a 10-year-old, but he only has 30 starts, so perfectly low number of starts actually for a 10-year-old who's just coming off the racetrack. He made $61,000. He hasn't run since August of 2025 for no reason except that, excuse me, it was time for him to retire from racing in August, and he was really like a pet to his trainer and owner, who's the same person. And it was really, really hard for her to let him go. Actually, it's sort of a similar story to Ghostly Anna, who I was talking about. I've The trainer of this horse started telling me about him last year. Such a similar story, actually. It's so ironic that I got both of them at the same time and did both of their first rides today. And she's been telling me for sometime since 2025 that she's going to send him to me. And, obviously it's time for him to move on, but she just loves him so much. So it was hard for her to part with him. And I know, so I want to thank her for trusting me with him. He will get a fabulous home. And it just, some of these horses, they're just so loved. They can be a bit like pets on the racetrack to some of their trainers and owners. And I'm looking forward to getting him into a great spot, which should not be difficult because the horse is absolutely lovely. So yeah, very lightly raced for a 10-year-old. I mean, 30 career starts. That's something that I commonly see in, 5 and 6 year olds. Honestly, that's a fair number of starts for that age. So he has certainly not been over raced. He is a pretty tall dude. He's very big bodied, and I'm sure he will fill out more. I love how uphill he is, and he's light in his mouth, and he's a lovely mover, and the canter is absolutely fabulous. We started with the left canter, and as is totally normal for these guys coming right off of the racetrack, he finds the right more challenging than the left. So I thought we'd get the right canter through a change. However, well, we did get it through a change. It just wasn't a totally clean change, so it was a little embarrassing for me. So I cut it out of the video. But that is something that he will figure out in no time at all because he is just such an athlete. I can really see him going on to do just a million different things. He's really beautifully put together, excuse me, lovely moving uphill horse. Obviously here we're working on understanding the contact, but he certainly had some light bulb moments and was starting to really understand. We are always training the opposite of what the horse's natural instinct is. So he's very uphill, which is wonderful. I love an uphill horse. And I would always prefer that to the other extreme of being downhill. But so, of course, we want to teach him that he can, stretch over his top line and lower his pole a little bit and really how to use his back and bring it all together. And so he will have no problem figuring that out. I actually don't think he's been ridden in quite some time. He's sort of just been hanging out at the track. So I think he might not have been ridden since sometime last year. So if my suspicion is correct. So he was an extremely, extremely good boy today. He was excellent at the mounting block. We'll get video next time. The canter on him is just absolutely lovely. It's just super balanced and uphill and light and all the things. I think this can be a really fun horse for somebody in a variety of different disciplines. He could go do some flat work. He could go be an event horse easily. I think he'd be a lovely event horse. He could do the jumpers. He could go be a fox hunter. There's so much this horse could go do. He still has so much left to give. His legs are just absolutely perfectly clean and tight and straight. He has beautiful feet, and all of that is photographed in his Flickr album. So this is not, I never shy away from taking older war horses. I love them, but he actually does not fit into that bracket because he's quite lightly raced for a 10-year-old coming right off the track, and his legs are just in perfectly pristine condition. He's obviously super, super sound. He's been barefoot for some time. Here I am trying to get the left lead canter transition. I think he was getting a little tired. He exhausted himself at the beginning because he was quite excited for his first ride in some time. And so then it was like a short-lived excitement. There we go. Finally got the left canter to part. I only rode him for about 15 minutes, but after about 5 minutes, he was like, oh, God, I'm not fit for this. But the canter is just lovely. He was quite a fun first push track ride today. And so this is another one similar story to Anna. His racing connections will absolutely want to follow him with his next career and his next human. So if you are interested in him, that has to be something that you're happy to do. And I feel like most people are happy to do that. I mean, who doesn't want to know that the horse was super loved as a racehorse and connect with their racing people. And this canter work is really getting super nice. Really, really nice steps here. Such a lovely, lovely balanced canter. And then the trot's really lovely also. I mean, there is just really a lot to like about the way that this horse goes. And as soon as he understands a little bit of stretch across his top line, he's going to be really extremely fancy. I don't sense any silliness or naughtiness coming off of this horse. You know, he hasn't been ridden in months. I didn't lunge him or anything today before I got on, and he was just very wonderful. And just no no hinting at anything that anybody wouldn't want. You know, that being said, of course, he's still relatively green. He has a ton of life experience, obviously. It's not like he's green to being ridden, but he needs training and buttons installed. So he needs to go to somebody who has some experience doing that. And this trot work is getting so nice here. He ended so beautifully. So these steps are really what we want from him. He doesn't need to be any rounder than this. You can just see how he's starting to understand the use of his top line a bit here. For whatever reason, there was something there off in the distance. He kept getting a little distracted by as we came down this long side. And then as we turned around the corner here, I got his attention back, and then he went back to this nice, lovely frame. That felt so nice. I could feel the back starting to come up a bit. And he's been barefoot, I'm assuming, since shortly after his last start. However, I put front shoes on him because I just felt like he was perfectly sound barefoot, and he has lovely feet. But I just always sort of feel like it's the kinder thing to do to, as they're going to come back into work and the ground is hard and all of that, just to put a pair of front shoes on. Excuse me. I would say that the walk was his least favorite gait. He just sort of didn't quite seem to see the point of walking. He says cantering is probably his most favorite. Trotting is fine, and walking, he's not sure what the point of walking is yet. And that's not to say that he's trying to, it's not like he's trying to like go, 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 but he just seems a little impatient in the walk. Now, all that being said, this is his first post track ride, first ride in months. I'm sure that it will settle down very quickly.